So something happened at ASCO, which is an oncology conference this year in 2026, that genuinely dropped the room. A standing ovation in an oncology conference for a pill. And when you hear why, you'll understand. So in pancreatic cancer, there is a gene called KRAS. It's mutated in about 90% of the cases. And when it's mutated, what it does is essentially jam the growth switch permanently on. So when it's permanently on, that means cancer growth. So for 40 years, researchers tried to block it, but it was undruggable. KRAS had nowhere for a drug to grab onto. The scientific community literally called this undruggable. Then they found a hidden pocket, a tiny groove in the protein that nobody has seen before. And a company called Revolution Medicines used it to engineer a drug called Daraxonrasib. One pill, once a day, taken at home. So how does it work? The drug, Daraxonrasib, recruits a natural cellular protein called Cyclophilin A. They get together and then they surround KRAS. When they surround it, now KRAS can no longer send growth signals to cancer cells, which means no cancer. Literally, KRAS gets silenced. Think of it like this. KRAS is a person trying to use a phone. Cyclophilin A is a massive bodyguard. And Daraxonrasib, it acts like handcuffs. What it does is to handcuff the Cyclophilin A, or the bodyguard, and KRAS together. KRAS is still there, it just can't reach the phone anymore to give that message to the cancer cells saying, keep growing. No phone call, no signal to grow. Cancer silenced. Now, the trial. Phase 3 clinical data. 500 patients. Real patients with metastatic pancreatic cancer who'd already been through one round of treatment. Median survival on chemo is about 6.7 months. On Daraxonrasib, it's 13.2 months. That's nearly double. And the risk of dying was cut by 60%, triple the response rate. And crucially, people felt better on it than they did on chemo. Now, really important point here, because I don't want anyone to misunderstand this. This drug targets something called RAS-on, meaning KRAS that is actually stuck on the on position because of a mutation. And it's these KRAS-on mutations that cause cancer. We're talking about specific mutations, and there are a number of KRAS mutations. So you will hear about them as G12D, G12B, G12C, G12A, and others in that family. These are all mutations. So again, it's the KRAS mutations that cause cancer, not the normal KRAS. And in fact, we need the normal KRAS in our body for survival and growth. It plays a huge role in normal cell function. So we need normal KRAS. And the cool part about Daraxonrasib is that it leaves the normal KRAS alone. So Daraxonrasib is able to figure out the rogue KRAS causing cancer and the normal KRAS keeping you alive, and only going after the bad one. And it doesn't just target one KRAS mutation. It targets multiple mutated versions at the same time. So that's why it's called a pan-ras drug. That's not easy to do. And it's a big part of why this drug works without the brutal side effects you'd normally expect. Right now, It has FDA breakthrough therapy designation and an expanded access program, which means some patients can access it today before full approval. A formal FDA filing is already underway. We could be looking at approval within months. And here's why this goes way beyond pancreatic cancer. KRAS drives around 25% of lung cancers and 40% of colon cancers. There are already 3 more phase 3 trials running for those right now. If the results hold, we're talking about one of the most broadly impactful cancer drugs ever developed. At the conference, the ASCO's chief medical officer called it a grand slam. I think that's right. 40 years, thousands of failed attempts, and now a once daily pill that nearly doubles survival in one of the hardest cancers to treat? Well, it is a grand slam. The undruggable era is over. If you or someone you know has a KRAS driven cancer, that does not automatically mean this drug applies. You need to know which mutation is present and what comes from molecular testing of the tumor. So, talk to your doctor about it. The bottom line, ask your oncologist about KRAS mutation testing first. That's the starting point. Follow for more.